the Pimp Magic Spellbook by Smokey Smith Street. We should probably blur out phone numbers so the viewers call before we do. All right, we're starting with chapter 1, Ancestral Pimpin. Alrighty, hold on. All right,
can you read through all the chapters just so we get an idea?
Yeah, let's go through all the chapter names.
Yeah. Okay, real quick. All the chapters. We got chapter 1, Ancestral Pimpin'. Chapter 2, A Lame with Game. Chapter 3, A Business of a Boss Bitch. Chapter 4, A Hater and His Creator. Chapter 5. Wait, hold on. Player 3, Player 4. What?
This book is already beyond our understanding. It says chapter 1, chapter 2, player 3, player 4.
Chapter 5, The Afterlife Pimp. Chapter 6, It's Showtime. Chapter 7, Bird's Eye View. Chapter 8, Bad Bitch Island. Chapter 9, Draw First Blood. Chapter 10, The Booster's Blueprint. Chapter 11, The L Taker. Chapter 12, The Moth Meets the Flame. Chapter 13, Mac to Life. Chapter 14, Mailman's Land. Chapter 15, Daddy's Home. Chapter 16, Alaska's Meltdown. Chapter 17, Punched by an Angel. Chapter 18, Righteous Left Hand. Chapter 19, Judgment Day Spell. Chapter 19, Surprise Party for the Dead. Chapter 20, It's Game Day.
I'm imagining this book just didn't have an editor. It was just one dude who wrote a fucking book and got it produced, but there was no editor.
Dude wrote chapter 19 twice.
No one looked over this.
Real quick, for the video, I'm going to explain how I fucking came in possession of this fucking masterpiece. I was on my way to a Lil Darky concert with a couple of my friends, and some dude just came out of a store with a plastic bag, pulled out 3 books, and then gave them to us. And one of them was signed. I think the signed copy we left in the venue. But the other 2 also had his phone number in it. So we're probably going to read through the whole thing and then, like, call his ass and then see.
Yeah, we'll call him. We'll call him at the end of this series once we're through all.
We'll set up an interview.
Yeah. We'll set up an interview.
Smokey Smith Street interview.
Yeah, the official Smokey Smith Street. All right, chapter 1, Ancestral Pimpin'. Okay, there is only one good book. It has no scriptures, no saviors, burning bushes, or ark filled with 2 of every animal. No talking snakes hanging out of trees, or prophets who put parts in red seas. But it's just as magical. It can be found nestled in a deck drawer of a sleazy hotel, nor it can be found placed on the shelf of the self-help section at your local Barnes & Noble. Not even for Webster himself could comprehend its true meaning. It has been said that the book was passed down from player to player, from century to century. Some say that the first entry of the book was composed by a former slave named African Paul, who taught himself how to read and write. He eventually bought this freedom by manipulating the minds of the slave master's daughters. He would write about the persuasive techniques he would use to influence his prospects to retrieve free food and stolen jewelry from their white master. African Paul took his wealth and immediately purchased land, horses, and even had enough money left over to be financially independent. When African Paul passed away from a life-threatening illness, he was buried with his riches like an ancient Egyptian. Ancient Egyptian pharaoh. Shiny gold trinkets gleamed on his lifeless body as dirt covered his marble coffin. As his woman cleaned every nook and cranny of his castle, his bottom bitch, Cicilina, stumbled upon a glowing novel hidden behind a naturalistic portrait of himself suited in attire of British royalty.
Get a good shot of that picture on that other page.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to this part yet.
Amazing.
Once she skimmed through the pages, it was apparent that the knowledge written on them could turn any man's charm into a dangerous weapon. She tried to burn the book, but it would not burn. It would leap out of the fireplace and remain to be in mint condition. In mint condition? I don't know.
Are there typos?
I don't know. It says ment. MEANT.
Keep in mind, this was a dude who walked up and handed it to you on the street.
Dude, that's so
Give him a
funny.
little
this
grace.
This book was just not edited. There's fucking typos, dude.
My phone died, I think.
Oh no.
No more
Real
camera.
quick, I'm
dude.
gonna plug it in. I'm gonna plug it in. We'll get the camera going as soon as I can. But yeah, so all right. In mint condition, she attempted to rip the pages out, but her fingers received an electrical shock that was equivalent to the feeling of being tasered by law enforcement. Cicelina was born and raised in Cuba. She had the past experience in the dark arts of voodoo that was passed down from her grandfather. She eventually migrated to the swamps of New Orleans, where she found refuge with African Paul after running from a Louisiana plantation. Selena took the book deep into the frightful woods in the dead of night. Thunder and lightning stirred the clouds above her head. All of Paul's wives were in attendance, holding hands, forming a circle around the fire, dancing to the rhythm of the young slut banging on bongos. Selena stood in the middle, holding a snake with both hands above her head, pointing towards the sky, yelling, "Let any man who writes or recites the words of this book become the most powerful pander with sight beyond sight." Thunder began to rumble as Cicelina and the others began to bury the book deep within the country soil. As they began to dance and chant in the African dialect while holding snakes and spitting rum into the air. Cicelina then sacrificed all the other wives with with the shovel she dug the hole with before slicing her own throat. Years passed and the world had changed 10 times over. The sun shined differently, the fashion and music had transformed, but most importantly, slavery was over. Or so we thought.
This book is amazing.
With it buried 6 feet deep, the book always managed to resurface, and every pimp's hand that held its spine while turning its pages contributed knowledge, making its magical power grow stronger and stronger. The book continued to pass through the ages. No matter how hard pimps and players tried to covet the book and keep it a secret, it always managed to find a new owner. A Buick with a screeching engine struggled to stay running as it began to break down on the highway. The Firestone tire quickly gave way, sending the entire vehicle down through a dark, wooded area, nearly killing its passengers. Smoke floated into the air like blunt roaches, blunt roaches rising from a pothead's ashtray. A young couple emerged from the car doors with their faces filled with frustration. "Baby, you okay?" the man hollered. Uh-oh. The young lady screamed, "Damn it, Lonnie, you fucked the car up. Now we gonna make it to the house. Shit. Honey, don't worry, just call AAA while I try to put the sparrow that rolled off into the woods," Lonnie said, with a docile and submissive voice. Searching through the woods as his girl huffed and puffed and rolled the green contacts in her eyes, Lonnie finally found the tire by some nearby shrubbery, and as he went to grab it, he noticed a book that illuminated brighter than stolen jewelry. It looked slightly withered with age, but his eyes were still drawn to its fluorescence. He cracked it open to peek at its pages, and the words shined like rays of light beaming from the sun. Overwhelmed by its power, he quickly closed the novel and regained his composure. The sight of the book intrigued the young boy, so he figured he would take the literature into his own hands, but he quickly realized that he had nowhere to put it. That's the end of chapter 1.
That's amazing.
Wait, no, that's not the end. Never mind. There's another picture.
Let's get a shot
I'll see
of
if I
it.
can. I'll see if I can get a shot of it after I read the page. But in that instant, the book began to shrink in size until it became small enough to fit in the palm of his hand. Impressed by the trick, he stuffed the novel into his back pocket and grabbed the tire, and he walked off. Suddenly, he tripped over an inanimate object. While on the ground, he looked over and noticed that there was an arm of skeletal remains cloaked in weird clothing with its jaws wide open. Screaming for his life, while he's running through the woods, he ran back to the car and noticed his girl wasn't there, thinking that she went to wait near the highway for help for a ride. And it did. He came just in time to see his girlfriend in the passenger seat of another man's F-150 with shiny 28-inch rims. "Later, loser!" she shouted as they sped off into the sunset.
Her name's Michella. Michella. Lonnie yelled at the top of his lungs as he attempted to chase a vehicle he knew would he'd never keep up with. Teardrops ran down the lenses of his glasses like raindrops on a window pane. Hours passed as he trotted towards the nearest off-ramp. With the long trip ahead of him, no phone, no one willing to give him a lift, the day transformed into night. As he sat down on a nearby park bench for a brief intermission to rest his throbbing feet, he quickly remembered he was sitting on something that made him feel uncomfortable. He reached into his back pocket and recovered the book he forgot about. It began to magically grow back into its original size, maintaining its flush radiance. As the book was cracked open, he gazed at the words of the first chapter with astonishment. Chapter 1. Be the magic pimp, not the magic trick. Now that's the end of chapter 1.
That's the actual end of chapter 1.
Let me see if I can get the fucking image of the
So
the illustration.
Lonnie about to become a sick pimp.
Pretty much. Hold on.
So this, hold on. Why are the pages like stuck together? Yeah, this was written by a fucking. Look, it's just that's it.
Okay.
Running a book. Beautiful.